Reading is like no other form of entertainment. Finishing a good book feels like an achievement, and a long list of completed books is something to be proud of. Well, I read a lot of books, and this year I set myself the target of reading more than I ever have before. Today I want to take you through some of the key strategies I'm utilising to achieve that. Now, at the time of recording, we're in the final week of January. I've got 11 books finished and I've got 3 on the go. I really want to keep up that momentum throughout the year. I would love it if you can help keep me accountable, and even better, for you to join me on that journey. So what do you need to do? First thing, you need to have a reading list ready. It doesn't need to be everything you're going to need to read in the year, but you need to have those backups ready for when you finish your book. There's nothing worse than finishing what you're reading and not knowing what to jump into next. You can quickly lose your momentum if you're not keeping that ball rolling. Now, my recommendation, if you're not sure what to read, don't just go for the bestseller list. Don't let a shop tell you what you should be reading. Go and find some recommendations. Look out for people you respect or people you've got similar tastes to, and try and cultivate a list you can work through. Now, as it stands, I've got about 10 in my wish list currently, but at the rate I'm going to get through those in no time at all. So I would love it if you can give me a recommendation. My next tip for you is to track what you've read. Just start a little record somewhere of all the books that you've read in this one run. Whether it's for the year or whenever you're starting this challenge, just start recording them. I use the notes section in my phone. Every time I start a book, I put it at the bottom of the list, and then I move it up to join the rest of the books when I've finished it. Tracking really works to help keep up your motivation. It's why almost everything is gamified nowadays. People love to see their own progress develop over time, and it's a really good way of keeping that ball rolling for the long run. My next tip for you is to try and start off your run with a really high number. Now, as I said, I'm looking to end this month with about 13 or 14 books completed. Now, that will be really good motivation for me. I'm going to want to keep that up throughout the year. So how can you do that? Well, don't try and start off with a giant epic tome. Pick up a nice small book that you can get through in no time at all, and start adding some numbers to that list. You don't need to stick with these shorter books for the long term, just get it going. Once you've got a few books added to your list, then you can stretch things out with a longer book. You'll have already built up a bit of a buffer, and you'll be happy to get stuck into something a bit longer. Now, like I said at the start, it feels like an achievement when you complete a book. You get that dopamine hit from the achievement. That is a really good way of ensuring you pick up the habit. My next tip for you is to use lots of different styles of reading. Reading a book doesn't need to mean holding a physical book in your hands. For me personally, I always have 3 books on the go. I have my Kindle that I read at night in bed. I have a physical book that I read throughout the day, and I have an audio book that I listen to in the car or when I'm on the move, and that means I'm never missing an opportunity to be reading. My next tip, regardless of wanting to read more, it's okay to quit on a book. Giving up a book can feel like a failure, but it's really odd that we only really think like that with books. If you put on a TV show and it was just no good, you turn it off straight away. Now, I suppose it's because you've paid for that book in most cases, so you want to get your money's worth. But I'm telling you, if you want to read a lot, then don't try and stick with something that just isn't making you turn the pages. We've all had those books that you're trying to read and you just can't concentrate. It's not grabbing you, and you're constantly rereading the same page, trying to get the information to go in. That will really slow down your reading. If you're finding you're just not engaging with a book and you've given it long enough to get stuck into it, then just bail, move on to the next one, and start getting back into the habit. My last tip for you is to use your money wisely. Now, I hope to read upwards of 100 books this year. If I was to pay full price for all of those books, then I could be looking at a good 1,000 to 1,500 quid throughout the year. That is a big outlay, and it's just not necessary. Keep your eyes open for opportunities. There's the obvious ones like charity shops and Facebook Marketplace, where you can pick up used books at a massive discount. And then there's things like Amazon Unlimited, where for a small subscription fee, you can get unlimited books throughout the month. Now, not all of the biggest titles are on there, but you do get a few hidden gems. You've just got to look for them. But one of the biggest considerations is Audible. So with Audible, for your audiobooks, you buy each book with a credit. Now, every book costs the exact same. So I sign up for Audible, I get my credit each month, and I often top up and buy a few more throughout the month. If I want to read a brand new title, in a Kindle store or in a bookshop, it could be anywhere from 15 to 20 quid. But on Audible, it would be just that one credit. So I make sure to use Audible for the newer titles, then buy my older titles from bookstores and the Kindle store. If you plan well throughout the year and keep your eyes open, you can save an absolute fortune. So there you have it. Those are my tips. Hopefully that'll help you join me to achieve something really special this year. I'd love to know if you are attempting something similar, and I'd love it if you could give me a recommendation to add to my reading list. Thank you so much for watching. Catch you next time. Bye.